Okay. I'm not happy. I'm pleased we won. Obviously, we play the games to win the game. That's why you keep score. But I just, my guys are so, they are so valuable and so precious to me, no pun intended there, that I just get disappointed when I don't see them playing to their capabilities. And so, we had a spirited post-game talk with them, but I'll bounce them back. They'll be ready. They're probably a little surprised at my message just now. But, championship teams are not teams that play for 10 minutes out of a game or 8 minutes out of a game. They play the same the whole game. And, losing isn't acceptable. It's not acceptable. What's acceptable is us playing our best basketball and losing to a better team. I can live with that. I can live with that. We had that happen a couple times this year. Omaha is a very, very spirited team. We told these guys it was going to take 40 minutes to beat this team, and it took every minute. This team is very well coached. They were down a man, down their number one big, and they persevered and they fought through it. They dealt with you can come on in, babe. They came in and played their hearts out on the road. Life is tough on the road, and they played their tails off to give us their best shot with a shot to tie the game at the end. I had a choice to make there whether we go and foul, and I just wasn't comfortable with the way that we did it the previous possession. So we just said they make a long deep when they make it. But that's not – we didn't want to foul them at 7 seconds. We wanted to foul them at 3 or 4 seconds. And we got beat on in the backcourt, and that's a non-negotiable. In the last 10 seconds of a game, you can't just get beat down the court. So we're going to shore that up. We're going to teach our lessons, and we'll get better. Alan, this guy was – a man tonight, and he was a little nervous and anxious because he hadn't played in a few games. So he struggled a little bit early defensively, and then when he settled into himself and started playing like a man, which he is, then he gave us a huge push in the second half when we needed it. He's one of those guys that he knows what I'm thinking. Like, he could look at me and he'll come and get in my ear about certain things. This is a long opening statement, I know, but it was a must-win game in our minds because it was the most important game of the year because it was the one right in front of us. So we have that opportunity against Denver. But anyway, you guys can open it up, start with him on a couple questions. So I want to get him in the cold tub. So you can just stay, just move forward.
It's the first question for Mukeba. So you were coming off the bench, got some 27 big-time minutes. You hit a big three at the end of the second half. Tell me how it feels to come back on the court after missing a couple games.
It's really great, I'm really excited. My bad. It's really great. I'm really excited, but I was a little anxious, like he said. But it was actually amazing because I could, fight with my brothers, and that's all I wanted for these games, We had a couple losses, a couple wins, and what I missed was just be on the court with him and fight with him. So it was actually great.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you provided the spark for Sweeney, because I believe you had a dunk in the middle at some point in the game that just kind of was a huge turning point. And then when Ngandu went down, you came in and you played some big time minutes. Tell me a little bit about what you bring inside the paint, especially when a guy like your teammate Ngandu went down, who really is a great rebounder.
I bring strength, fear, power, and energy for my team. When I be dunking and stuff, that's the most thing I bring. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Looked like it took about a half for your teammates to recognize you're on the floor with them again. And so, we kept thinking the first half we had one assist. And so we weren't sharing the ball very well. Did you guys talk about that, or you just wait for them to
No, that's something I should talk to them about. But they know what they're doing. They know what they did wrong. They know what they did good. And when it's halftime, we're in the locker room talking about stuff. But I didn't this time. They just did what they had to do, and I trust them. So that's not a problem. That's not a problem at all.
Do you have any questions for Not for
And so
Anything else? Let's
how you feeling
give him one or
physically
two more
after-
guys, and I want to get him out of here.
How you feeling physically after, because you probably played a lot more minutes, with Jeff going down?
Yeah. So I was hurt at my hip. I was injured, but it feels better after the game. I'm kind of like, yeah, it hurts a little bit, but like Coach said, he want to get me in a cold tub. I got to take care of myself and do the recovery. So yeah.
Anything else for Alan?
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I see you, Coach.
Yes,
See you
sir.
guys.
Okay, all right, we'll finish it up with any questions for me, guys.
Coach, you guys obviously didn't have the best shooting night tonight, only 3 of 20 from 3, 22 of 59 overall. But what does it say about your team that throughout the shooting struggles, you were still able to find a way to grit it out and win? I mean, it says something whenever you're not having your best night and you can still find ways to win.
No, it's a great point. I think that, we, as coaches, we just complain a lot when, when shots don't go in, and we can get frustrated. But every team I've ever coached, or the majority of the teams I've ever coached, is we put defense as an emphasis and rebounding as an emphasis, because that can carry you through some games. They always say that defense travels, so if you go on the road and you play solid defense like Jevin did against the big kid at North Dakota State in that last, few minutes, that travels, right? So it was almost like, it felt like a road game in the sense that normally when the rims are a little more forgiving tonight, they weren't for whatever reason. I don't know if we tightened them up before the game, but it was interesting. We had point blank shots right at the rim that we were missing, and it was like, okay, that's not us. But fortunately for us, we rebounded a lot of those, and then we got fouled on a couple of them, but we didn't convert a lot of the putbacks. So it says a lot about their toughness, their mental toughness, and to steal a phrase, their intestinal fortitude. Was very. They persevered through some adversity, because that was a bad shooting night. Tammy and I could have shot better than 3 for 20, and I ain't kidding. So,
Coach, you talk about how you focus a lot on defense. You guys have one of the best defenses, or not the best defense in the Summit League, first place in scoring. But you guys really have some. I think who was that kid? It was Osborne.
yeah.
And who was the other guy? Marshall.
Number
They were hitting
3.
some big threes down the stretch that helped Omaha get in. What did you tell your players at half and during key timeouts?
We changed up a couple things. They had 5 threes in the first half. They had 4 in the second half, so we did a little bit better. But the key was, being in really good position defensively, so that when that guy caught the ball, we were right there on him, and then so we're not having long rotations, which happens when you allow people to penetrate. So we kept them in front of us at a very good clip. They didn't get a lot of drive-bys directly into the paint, especially through the middle, which enabled us to stay on our guys. And then we did a better job in the second half. I think they were, I don't know the first half. I know they had 5 out of maybe, I don't know how many attempts, but they ended up with 4 out of maybe 14 the second half, something like that. Was that on there?
For three-point, it was 5 out of 13 in the first half, 4 out of 11 in the second half.
So 4 out of 11, they still 36%. They were still pretty decent from the 3 there. So, it's just identifying guys and making adjustments on the floor and making adjustments at halftime. So we did a couple things different, where we'll go out and no-catch a guy. It's not like a full face guard deny, but it's you play on the passing line a little bit closer to him so that you can at least touch that line. And then if you're on that strong side, you want to make sure you jump all the way to the passing line so that they can't just give it to him. They run some good stuff. Coach Crutchfield does a really good job, and they got him some good looks in spite of what we did. And then number 2, as you referenced, Marshall, he's not known as a three-point shooter, and so part of our scouting report was to not allow him to drive, and then he hits, to his credit, he hit some big threes. He had two that were at critical points for us, for them.
Yeah, first thing, Coach, you've got 3 games essentially back to back, including tonight. How do you take
4 now.
Yeah, 4.
Including tonight because that South Dakota. South Dakota State game on Monday. So we have 4 home games and 3 back to back. You're right. Mm-hmm.
How do you take that challenge? Do you take it just grit your teeth and bear it, or are you excited?
Well, we're excited because of the fact they're all at home. we don't have to travel. So I think that gives us, hopefully, a bit of a advantage when you play the second and then the third team in, because that means the third team will have been on the road for 3 games. So it's more of a theoretical hindrance for them than it is for us. But we're in conference now. Conference is just no joke, man. You got to lace them up against everybody, and you got to be ready to play. I saw where Mississippi State almost beat Alabama. I watched that game for a little bit last night to see if I could pick up any tips. But it's just conference, man. It's just a different vibe. It's a different tone. I was telling those guys about it in non-conference, trying to explain to one of these or all of these. What do we had? 8 guys that never played college before. That you got to get ready to wrap your mind around, but you can't really. I can show them better than I can tell them. And I think tonight was a great example for them to realize, like, it doesn't matter what a team's record is. I mean, we lost to – who was that we lost to? That was Owen –
Green Bay?
No, it was somebody in
North
conference.
Dakota?
Yeah. Yeah, it was North Dakota, right? Weren't they 0-6 or something like that? I forget who it was. But it's conference, That same team had a lot of close losses. So you just got to be ready to play your best basketball, and hopefully that gives you some type of momentum, going into the conference tournament.
Next thing I've got for you, Coach, is attendance tonight. The arena was packed, almost 1,000 fans.
Right.
How's that energy for the team?
It's good, and it's good to see. And that was another reason I was upset because, you want, when your extended family shows up, you got to take care of them. They come to the house, you want to. You got to get them something to drink. You got to, sit them down and entertain them a little bit. And we just let them sit there for the first half, and then finally engaged them in the second half. And it felt good. And I could hear there was a different, it was a different vibe, a different kind of energy behind us. And like you said, when Sweeney got going on that dunk, and then I think the rest was all, the guys feeding off of that. So, hey, the more fans, the better. We'll keep it going. Hopefully, you guys go out and spread the word that there's a good little product here in Kansas City that's young and vibrant, and get on board now and enjoy the ride, because it's going to be a fun ride. I guarantee it's going to be a fun ride. Before I'm done, we're going to have some rings, and we're going to have some championships, and we're gonna set a foundation for this program to move forward in my retirement, which hopefully is a long time from now. So, but yeah, no, it's going to be good.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
I got one more question for you, Coach.
Sure.
Shamari picked up his 4th foul around the 6-minute mark. How do you, in a game as close as tonight's was with such a key player, how do you manage not risking fouling him out, but also making sure he's on the floor for the most crucial parts of the game?
Yeah, it's a bit of staff collaboration and experience. I think in my younger years, I got a little anxious and would sub guys back in too early. Mm-hmm. And then they'd get their 5th foul, and there's like 4 minutes left to play. And so you just learn that you got to watch the score, right? We were up 4. We couldn't really get over the hump because we kept fouling, but we were up 4, and we kind of were hovering around there. I think we got a 5 once, and I was like, okay, we can give them a little more, And then we got to about 4:23, I think is when it was, before that last media. And then Coach Esposito and I said, hey, let's get him in. So collaboration and experience, I guess. John?
When we have things not go well in the first half,
Yep.
how do you think your backcourt has evolved with dealing with frustration? Since this, it's probably the 4th or 5th time they've had an opportunity to deal with that.
Well, they were those two combined, Shamari and Ray, were let me see here. So 8, And then where's Shamari?
Right above
Oh, right above them. Okay. So they finished 10 for 33, but they were 2 for 17 in the first half. Okay, so they made 8 more buckets and got to the free throw line and did some good things, especially Ray down the stretch. But Shamari ended up with 20 and having to sit a little bit. So the response, John, was growth. I'm optimistic about that getting even better. I didn't think it was very good the first half. I thought they were affected by a couple of the calls, and I thought they were not connected with each other, and there wasn't a real synergy on the floor. It was more guys just wanting us to win, but they were all little silos. And then I think after our conversation at the break, I think they went back out and relaxed a little bit and played with a little more confidence.
'Cause I did not see, and I've seen it, in other games where their body language gets very negative, and
Right.
this did not happen tonight. So
Well, it did.
I thought was good.
It did a couple times, but I'm looking for it now because it could affect the game. So you might not have saw it, but it was a shorter recovery time.
Okay.
So that's where we had those conversations, and they bounced back well.
And then it did seem like it took a while for them to recognize that Allen was actually there to help them.
Well, it wasn't all their fault. It was Allen catching the ball and just bouncing it and
Yeah.
dribbling because he touched the ball and first time in 5 games or whatever, and it was bounce. It's like, yeah, okay, I don't want you catching it out there, and that's not the offense. When he settled down, he told me, he's like, I know, my bad, coach, I was a little anxious. I was like, it's okay, bro, you'll be fine. Just let the game come to you a little bit. Trust the system, So it was as much him trusting the system as it was the other guys recognizing. It was just, we drew things up to get him touches. Coach Esposito did a great job. He got him a lot of quality touches when we didn't know that when they were going to be a man in zone. We had to run some plays and we tweak. Coach Esposito is amazing. His in-game management and adjustments is really high level. And sometimes I accept them and sometimes I reject them, but he brings some great stuff to the table. And he made an in-game adjustment with a set play that we had never even run before, and we did it mid-game. And it was Mike Bowden's scout tonight, and Mike did a fantastic job. He's probably a little upset that it was a close game, but it's conference, man. Just win, baby. To steal that phrase from who was that, the Raiders or something. So yeah, so it's true. The conference, just get the dub, man. Keep it pushing. We got no time to celebrate. They can have feel good until about midnight, and then they gotta start wrapping their minds around a spirited Denver team that's already beat us once. So I don't think I'll have a motivational speech planned for that game, because if you're not pumped up as a player to go play someone that have already beat you, then you're in the wrong profession. Anything else?